Unification of the spirit with the soul. Separation of body and earthly activity. BD0544 from August 13, 1938, taken from book number 12. Behold, my child, not all people have the will to renounce the world, and there will always be a slight longing to perish in the hustle and bustle of the world, for this alone seems desirable to them. But where a little child is faithfully devoted to me, there the will is also strong, and to such I convey the strength and give nourishment to their spirit. The food of heaven, my word, is the bread of life, and I teach them to understand all wisdom. However, if the earthly child wants to lead a purely spiritual existence, all my angels hold their hands protectively over it. The slightest plea to me will be heard. The world will be taken away from such an earthly child, and my breath will pass into his heart and fill it with longing for me. The flames of love blaze brightly, a bright glow of light envelops the soul, its spirit awakens, and a covenant is made for eternity with all spiritual strength. This soul can no longer bear to remain on this earth, it walks as it were with its eyes turned heavenwards and looks for a place which is more pleasing to it. Yet the body carries the burden of earthly existence until my call fetches the soul home and strips it of its body shell. All this has become clear to you, and if you are now active for my name, your soul is far away from matter and thus in those regions which are more appealing to it, and soon the body will lose the right connection with the soul, where the soul has created a sphere of activity for itself which distances itself from matter. And likewise, the soul will unite itself more and more with its spirit and then only want to be purely spiritually active. And thus the human being will master physical activity with the help of otherworldly friends without actually needing the soul's activity or help, for the lack of strength will then be compensated for by the support of these spiritual beings. The earthly child can then devote all its willpower to spiritual life, and the soul can continue to carry out its spiritual work and thus leads an existence separate from the body, even though it is still earthly connected to the body. Thus a real separation of soul and body has taken place, but only in the spiritual sense. The soul's desire is completely different from the body's desire, and since the soul's desire finds God's full approval according to divine order, it can also take this path without damaging the body or rendering it unfit for its earthly task. And so the body carries it out, but under the influence of good spiritual beings. Do you understand this, my child? If a union of the spirit with the soul is to take place, the body must withdraw anyway and is only an insubstantial shell in itself. However, the spirit does not need this shell, it only seeks to win the soul for itself, and if it has succeeded in doing so but the human being's earthly task has not yet been completely fulfilled, it will be continued with the help of external spiritual forces, and the soul can then fulfill its spiritual task without restraint. Thus the world is no longer a danger for such an earthly child. Whoever eats my bread and drinks my wine will remain in my grace forever, for he wanted my strength and so it had to become his. He will satisfy his spirit's hunger with this bread at all times and quench his soul's thirst with the wine. For my word contains truth and eternal love, and he who only remains in me will always be strengthened for all eternity. Amen.